Today, we're excited to talk to you today about getting started with AI quoting in 2025. Here at ATS, we've spent coming on 5 years now investing in AI, specifically as it relates to our quoting focus. But before we get going, let me just quickly introduce myself and my colleague Mazen. So my name is Graham Walker. I look after sales and marketing here at ATS. And Mazen, I'll let you introduce yourself as well.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mazen Mustafa, and I'm an account manager. I mainly work with some of our independent rep and wholesale customers.
Excellent. So the agenda for today, we are going to go through probably about 15-20 minutes of slides. Mazen's going to show you the application live, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's coming in 2025, some of our roadmap items, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A. So here's what we're going to cover today. Can ChatGPT read plans and specs? Why is specialized AI required in this industry? How does AI learn your quoting preferences? We're going to talk about why that's important, how it does it, and why that's important. How do you simplify some of the things that are currently taking up a lot of time in your process of reviewing and prepping quotes? Things like cross-reference, finding crosses, getting pricing requests back from manufacturers or manufacturers' reps, so, creating the submittal package. And then why email might not be the best way to get pricing from reps. We are also going to then talk about the future of quoting as we see it. But before we get started, I would like to ask this question. I'm going to launch the poll in just a second, but the question is going to come up. It says, where are you in terms of your practical everyday use of AI? So you will have a poll in 1 second. I'm going to leave it open for probably about 60 seconds. And this will give us a sense of the fact that ChatGPT is 2 years old now, and you can't look at a news feed on your phone without hearing AI somewhere in there. All right. Pretty much everybody has responded, so I will, anyone wants to get one last answer in, that's fine. I will end the poll and I will share you the results. So you'll see that 50% of us are at early stages, 29% are using it and have found some value. It's good. And 21% have invested a good amount of time, and you're testing various AI apps. So no one is a newbie. That's great. Glad to hear it because occasionally, not very often, but occasionally I hear that, you know what, generating AI images or having AI write my emails, not terribly interested in that. I can do that just fine. Thank you very much. So back to the slides. Are we good there, Mazen? Everyone's seeing the slides again? I just wanted to say, well, maybe you're not that interested in using AI to generate a bathroom design for the space station or a Starry Night faucet. These are all AI generated image, by the way. And if you see something like that, you can't help but smile. This is also AI generated images using a prompt to use photorealistic pictures of kids seeing their parents after being at daycare all day. But maybe you're just like this guy who every time you start a quote, you're seeing the mirage of pizza on your screen, and you just can't wait to get to the next lunch break. So enough of that. Let's get a little quick overview of who we are. Why are we giving this presentation, and who is ATS Software? So ATS Software is actually coming up to 55 years old. Started back, the founder's father, the current president's father started in 1969, and used to take around big binders, big 3-ring binders full of spec sheets to engineers to help them flip through and organize in a tabulated fashion to find their the plumbing specs and read about the features as they were designing and developing their specs. So it was called the Plumbing Bible, and it became more of a software company in the early 2000s, and we launched sort of into the market with a specification platform called SpecTool. We then launched a wholesale quoting platform based on a request from a company locally here. We are based in Toronto, Canada. And the rest is history, as they say. Technology changes quickly, so we've refactored and rewritten our application twice since the beginning of our genesis as a software company. And now what we're showing you today is something that is has been available since 2022, our AI-powered automated quote platform, but it is it's constantly changing, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So here's the question that a lot of people have. I'm sure maybe some of you even tried this. Can you upload a set of plans and specs to ChatGPT and just have the vision? It's called ChatGPT Vision. Is that going to work? And the answer is not at all. You can see on the right-hand side, yes, it found, based on the prompt over here on the left, it found the various tags, WC1, WC2, UR1. It pulled some things up, but it missed almost everything. There was a model specified for WC1 and WC2. There was a model, and for the urinal, it specified both. It captured the urinal for some reason, but then it also pulled in the toilet. So it's just not. It's not there. Will it get there one day? Yet to be determined. I am not going to discount that, but it is not there. It's not even close right now. Could you fine tune this and build some application? Probably, but it's not going to be consistent. So what we are proposing and what we want to talk about today is why specialized AI is required for commercial quoting. So here's the auto quote output of that exact same file that I sent to ChatGPT. It highlighted everything on the PDF, drawings and specs, by the way. I'm just showing you the schedule within the drawings. It'll read both, but it highlighted everything related to plumbing. It found all the product numbers and it assigned them to the tags. So here you go. From 0% to 70% done of your project in 5 minutes. It takes the AI no more than 60 seconds, maybe 2 minutes if it's dozens and dozens and dozens of pages. But that's not the problem. You can get to 70% done in roughly 5 minutes. Here's all those items. Here's the toilet, the flush valve, and the seat. And it's all because we have put thousands and thousands of projects through the training process. And the AI has learned from that and is now becoming very effective at taking what was found in the spec, which is in the left-hand side of your screen, and building the quote for you, which is the right-hand side of your screen, and matching those products up and giving you pricing and so on. Mason's going to talk a little bit about what you do with this. But yes, there's still a little bit of work. There's, roughly 30% of your effort is still required, but within 5 minutes, you're here. Now, what about the products that are hidden in the description? This project was chosen specifically because it's not uncommon to have what you see here in number 1, 2, and 3, but then also 4 and 5 don't have product numbers. There's a hardwired AC power kit. There's a requirement for a carrier. How does AI find that? Well, that's where a human comes in. So if you have AI to get you there, and then you have a human build a package, and the concept of a package is just you put little things together that often go together. Mazen's going to talk about how, as a quoter, using the AutoQuote platform, you can build packages, and then you teach the AI as it learns. Why not have it link the AFWAL toilet to a couple of different options, one of them which includes a carrier. And then if you give it the thumbs up, it's going to learn that. So here's the flush valve with the power kit. So you put the bowl and the carrier together, you put the flush valve and the power kit together, you've got packages, you can have the system pull those in. Doesn't mean you're always going to need that package. There's multiple packages. AutoQuote has the ability to allow you to include packages, change packages, select different options on that. But the human, we call it human in the loop. And then when you give it a thumbs up and you teach the AI, you're making it smarter for the next time you run the next project. So the engineer obviously has left it up to the quoter to choose the carrier and choose the power kit. That's not something that in this particular project that they specified. So as a quoter, you need to find those and make sure you include them, and AutoQuote helps you do that. So how does it work? Well, how does it read the drawings? Well, today we are training and have trained the application on product numbers. So as you can see on the right-hand side, it's the little boxes around all those product numbers. But in the future, we will be using AI agents. And if you haven't heard the term of AI agent, it is simply just using AI in segregated task-specific functions. So one set of AI prompts and trainings would extract the products. Another AI prompt and task would review it. A third one might look for those unnumbered items, and we would train it to look for certain things. A fourth one might validate, or it goes on and on. So the concept of agents is where the real power of AI comes in. And this is also where a human in the loop is absolutely vital in these early days of AI. We at ATS have trained the system. We have a quote team internally. We've trained the system with humans who are quoters. We quote every day, numerous projects. And so we're training the system, but our users are also training the system, not so that, not in a competitive way. We're highly secure. All different customers are items and data is segregated. But what I mean by humans are training the system is it gets better for everyone. A rising tide floats all boats. And as more and more people use this, the AI learns more about what it should do, and it just gets more accurate all the time. So why is it important to have that good data? Well, you saw the ChatGPT results. Yeah. Accuracy is number one. When we first released AutoQuote, it had challenges. We had to get it to market. It's the concept of in a software company and in any company, you do your best, you design, you bring it, you test it, you validate it, but it always gets better. It always iterates. And so we've gotten more and more accurate. And to the point where on this slide, which I realize is a bit busy, we're trying to make a simple point that without AutoQuote at the top, you have a difference between your experienced quoters and maybe your junior quoters or intermediate quoters who just don't have the years of experience or doing this. At the top, an experienced quoter would look at that description that I had over there in the previous slide. They'd see the three products, and they'd also notice that there's those two additional items. There's the carrier and the power kit. So they'd quickly add the items, but the knowledge isn't captured in your current quote system, whether it's in ERP or otherwise. And so a junior would come in and do the same. They'd see those items. They're obviously you're trained to look for those things, but then you'd have to go and look them up, or you'd have to ask someone for help. You'd have to Google this. It just ends up on the review process. The quote leader has to review all quotes, and there's a lot of validation time. There's a lot of effort to get to accuracy and completeness. Well, with auto quote, the senior experienced quoter is going to do, they're going to see those items, but then they're going to add a package to the system and they're going to link that to the AI results so that when everyone else on the team, regardless of their level of experience, comes in to that project or the next project or every project after that one, the auto quote AI is going to recommend the package that the senior or the experienced person built. So it makes all quotes faster. So now you're faster and you have a trusted result because AutoQuote is learning. If I had to sum it up, I would simply say AutoQuote captures your internal knowledge so that everyone gets better. So why is a good data the key to AI success? I think it almost goes without saying that returning inaccurate results is counterproductive. And so we've spent an inordinate amount of time and effort building a database of over 10 million products from over 5,000 manufacturers. In 2024 alone, through the AutoQuote platform, of which we have numerous wholesalers and rep firms quoting, as well as manufacturers quoting on the system. Almost 3 million lines have been quoted, 100,000 projects with a value of roughly $3.2 billion. This is key to ensuring you can trust the system and continue to grow and get faster and better. But what about winning more? It's great you can get more quotes out in less time, but how does AI that learns your preferences, how does that help you win? Well, this is not comprehensive. Of course, there's all sorts of reasons why you win or you don't win that are outside of your quoter's control. But if you were to just quote to spec, which most people do, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but it doesn't leave you any way to differentiate from another wholesaler. It comes down to a race to the bottom of who's cheaper, who's willing to take the lower margin to get this project. I'm not ignoring the fact that there's all sorts of strategies, there's all sorts of relationships that build into this, but just in general, just quoting to spec leaves little differentiation. Whereas if you have a application that uses AI, it learns things, you can create quote variations. You can include equals that you equal or equivalents, or you can recommend value engineering alternatives based on your knowledge of the contractor who's requested it, based on the knowledge of the project or the architect or the owner or the engineer. And so you have a higher chance of winning because you are bringing your experience through your team members to the quote process. And this work trains the AI, and then in turn, the AI becomes the coach for the team. So, cross-reference is not a new thing, but when it's automated and built into the quote at the literally right on the line item level, it removes the friction of finding an alternative, coming up with variations, and coming up with ways to win that quote. And the ATS, we call it XREF, stands for cross-reference. That's included. It's just built right in. It's every single line item has a link to our cross-reference function. So where can this help you then? So this also is maybe somewhat generalized, maybe everybody doesn't agree with all these points, but in general, you do spend, if you don't have AI, you're spending a lot of time finding your products. You're spending a lot of time entering that data, and with AutoQuote, you can, go shopping for validated products. We have an ATS library that's right from inside AutoQuote. If you don't have it in your database and the engineer has specified it, you don't have to go to Google. You don't have to create a product in your ERP. You just go to our big library of products. You find it, you bring it over to your secure library of products inside your system, and you're good to go. And then last but certainly not least is the crossing process, which we've talked a little bit about. And if you can automate that, and if the system can bring you relevant crosses, it's not always one-to-one, we realize that. So we've given you the ability to have multiple preferences assigned to each cross. Mazen will talk a little bit about that. No Google search required in our crosses. So here's the question that some of you might have been a little bit curious about at the beginning, why email might not be the best way to get pricing from reps. So we're officially announcing today that a product, a module called Quote Connect is going to be released in 2025. And it is a way to request and manage rep pricing directly from within AutoQuote. So we're not going to show it to you right now, but I'm going to show you the concept. Start with the big arrow inside AutoQuote. The quoters are going to request vendor pricing by clicking the individual line items. It's going to send those specific line items to your rep firms or your manufacturers and saying, here's what I need you to price. It's going to attach any attachments that you need. But now, instead of that rep firm receiving just the whole general job and them leaving it up to them to go and find out which items you need pricing on, it gives them those specific items, and they can price those inside Quote Connect. It's a login that they will have, and it's free to the rep firms. They do not have to pay for this. And the whole benefit is that the AutoQuote user on the wholesale side receives pricing back directly into that quote with attachments as well. There is no transposition from transposing the answer back from your email over to your quote system. There's no room for error in terms of typing in the wrong thing or forgetting to attach something. It all flows directly across. So we're super excited to announce Quote Connect, and look for more from us on our website in early 2025 about this. So 30 seconds, and then Mazen's going to take over. If you and I were on an elevator and you said, what's AutoQuote? Here's what I would tell you. We upload plans and specs to the application. We run the AI, which finds the products, extracts those, and builds the quote. The system then suggests the crosses and it makes sure it matches things. It crosses things that you are more relevant for you as a wholesaler, or that are approved equals, and you can link those and make the system intelligent about it. You can approve those crosses, you can reject those crosses, and manage your recommendations that the system will give you. You can have a built-in cross-reference function. You can even have built-in product configurators for those complex things like drains or water heaters or other items that have complex configuration requirements. And then last but not least, you can download a quote to a PDF, send it off to your contractors, and you can, should you be awarded that job, or should you have a request from the engineer for approvals of your submittals and shop drawings and O&Ms, literally at the click of a button, it generates an entire multi-page, sometimes hundreds of pages, depending on the nature of what's in your quote, in a matter of 30 seconds. So with that being said, we're right on time. I would like to, I'll stop sharing and Mazen will show you the application, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about what's coming in 2025.
Is my screen showing fine?
Yes.
Awesome. Grant, we had a couple of chats coming in saying the chat is disabled.
I will open that up so that when we get to that at the end.
Okay. All right, so I'm starting this off right now on the project folder. This is the same project that you guys have seen screenshots of on the slide deck earlier. Now I've pre-set up this page here. What I basically did was that I entered the information under this section here. So the name of the project, the location, the type of building. Under key contacts, you'd find the engineer or the architect being included, or any contractor, for example, that has won any of the quotes for this project. And it'll give you like a little summary over here. Now, scrolling down onto the attachment section, this is where the flow of the AI started. You upload, again, any documents, drawings, specs, whatever it is. You go to click on Create Takeoff. Just select the documents that you want to run through the AI. I've selected this as a drawing just to confirm on it. Once I click on Confirm, again, doesn't take anything longer than a minute or two. and it'll create the specification list, which is basically the results of the takeoff. It will also generate the AI document or the AI process document for me. It highlights anything that is product related, and this is the same information that we're going to be reviewing over at the tool. Now, once I click on the specification list, it's going to be taking me directly into my coding module. Scrolling through this code module here under customers, for example, I can add in the contractors that I want to send the job out to. Or if you are a rep and you want to send this out to a wholesaler, you can add in that wholesaler. But in this case, I'm just adding in ABC Mechanical. Now scrolling down on to my product section. Now the list of products that you guys are seeing on the left-hand side here, these are the products that were picked up by the AI from the document that we ran through it earlier. On the right-hand side are going to be my firm preferences, or also, the products that I'm going to be ending up quoting. Now, these have been pre-filled in based on, I guess, previous jobs that have been done under this account. So if we were to look at that WC1 tag, for example, the ones that, came up in the presentation earlier, and the main model number that was picked up was the 3351. It's been quoted per spec, but what if I want to include maybe another alternative from another brand? So what I can do is I can just copy this model number, go over to a new line item, click on cross-reference tool, just pasting that model number in. And then it's bringing me up the equivalents from different brands. Now, if I wanted to go with this Kohler SKU, for example, I just want to double check on the cross-reference types here. So if I hover over these logos, it shows me that they match up on the function, aesthetics, and the finish. So this means that, it's probably a very close match. I can just click on this model number. It'll load back into that product field for me. Once I add this in, I would also like to reorganize this or move it up to be right next to the main model number that was specified. I want to say that this is an alternate product and this as a label. Now, this has also inflated my section amount because I'm including 2 toilets instead of 1. So what I'm going to do is click on this little button right here, which means that the pricing will still show up on my final print. It just will not be included in the total amount calculations. Now, looking at the 3351, for example, if I wanted to go back into the AI process document, this is that WC1 tag that I was looking at. Scrolling over to the right, I can see everything that has been highlighted. And to what we were talking about earlier in the slide deck, there's also, they've also asked for a hardwired AC power kit and a carrier. Now, the way we handle this on AutoQuote is that you can go back onto the tool. If I click on this drop down here, shows me like a little history tab of all of the SKUs or products that I've quoted against the 3351. And then all the way to the bottom here, I can see that this is a package. I can tell by the 3 little boxes as opposed to the single box logo here. Now, if I hover over this drop down, it shows me that within this package, I have the watts of, the American Standard 3351 and the watts carrier. Now, once I click on this, it'll include that within my quote. Now, they've also asked for a hardwired flush valve. So I also want to add in the power kit. Again, if I click on the drop down, looking at this package right here, I can see it has the main flush valve model number and then also the hardwired power kit. Now, scrolling down onto WC2, for example, I want to do the same.
And then you can click the thumbs up, Mazen, when you're done that, just to give the instruction to the system, right?
Correct. So once I'm done adding all these changes in, I want to give these a thumbs up. And what this basically says or tells the AI is that next time you see the 3351, I want you to include in the carrier with it automatically. Now, I've also added in the alternate product. If I want to add this onto my WC2 section as well, I have the option of just copying this product over to another section. I want to go to WC2. I just want to rearrange this to be right underneath my AF wall. Now I can continue going through the quote. For example, looking at the WCO here, the wall cleanout that was picked up at J.R. Smith, model number was specified. That has been automatically crossed over to the Watts CO460RD package. Again, just to double check on what's within this package, I hover over the drop down and I can see that all the different line sizes have been included in here. Now, if I were to scroll over to the right-hand side, let's say I wanted to add in a multiplier for this section to include all of the different line sizes. I can go in and add them in one by one, or I have the option of just click on the pencil icon on the top right corner. And I want to add in a multiplier of 0.45 for this whole section. Once I click on apply, you'll see that my section amount has changed now. Scrolling through, I'm just literally doing a visual double check at this point. Under this Bradley product that was quoted, for example, if I want to include in a lead time note, I can put in column here. You'll see a bunch of notes popping up. As I start typing it in, it'll start narrowing the list down. Once I click on this, it populates the full note for me. These are fully controlled and set up by the user. Now, once I'm done working on this quote, I can click on save and exit. It'll save the quote back into the project folder for me. Now onto the downloads. I have 4 options in which I can download this quote in. If we have any sort of integration, I guess, to push this quote over into your backend system, it'll be a 5th option over here. But for now, if I were to go into quote print, this is only an optional step. At this point, I can click on continue and it'll print out the quote for me, or I can configure what my print would look like. So which customer information do I want to show on my print? Which pricing comps do I want to show or hide? You want to have manufacturer name, the product images, hyperlinks to spec sheets, all of that can be customized. And once I click on continue, it'll have this ready out for me. So again, it'll have your logo up top, the customer information, if I choose to include it. And then product images and hyperlinks to spec sheets, just like I configured it back on the tool. So this is the first print. The second print is going to be the shop drawing or submittals package. Once I click on that, it also takes me to a page where I can manage the shop drawings that are being printed out. You'll see that a lot of these would say shared from ATS. We do have an ATS shop drawing library that we automatically share to our users. Now, if something, for example, does not have a shop drawing on file, then you have the option of adding in that from your desktop, and that gets saved in the system against this queue. So every time it's included in a quote, it'll be included in the shop drawing package. Once I click on continue, it'll have this out for me. My logo up top, table of content, and then the manufacturer's cut sheets with the exact highlighted model numbers. Now we also have O&Ms, which also has the exact same concept as shop drawings. And then the last print is an Excel export of the quote. Now we also do have a live chat feature. If the user or the quoter has any questions, concerns as they're going through these quotes, this gives them instant access to our customer success team.
Excellent. Thank you, Mazen. The live chat is open now. I have about another 2 minutes of presentation, and then we will open it up for Q&A. I have not determined if there's an option for people to come on live, but we'll figure that out when we get there. But certainly the chat is open, so if you got questions, you can start there. Let me just go back to my screen share, and we'll be done here in just 2 minutes. So, yeah, thank you, Mazen. We obviously kept this brief and concise due to the nature of today's webinar and the timing. we'd be happy to show and answer any questions if you are interested in a deeper dive. So what's coming in 2025? A number of things. We're only going to touch on a few of them, but one of them is HVAC quantity takeoff. This is a function whereby the AI will measure and categorize and identify things like ductwork, louvers, vents, valves, you name it. Literally within 2 to 5 minutes. Sometimes these takes a little longer than a plumbing takeoff because there's a lot more complexity to these drawings. But within a handful of minutes, all of your HVAC will be extracted with a quantity of every single item identified, as well as some checks and balances. And if you are involved in HVAC distribution or validating contractor quantities, then we'd love to show this to you. Back to the quoting side, we've got some new dashboards coming in 2025. They're actually already out now, but we're gonna just making some fine tunes to these. So the quoters will be able to see all sorts of things related to their top 3 manufacturers, their top quotes by category, their margins by category, and really start to isolate and slice and dice the data of what they're quoting. And then a CEO dashboard, which is really for anyone who has oversight of the quoting process. We will give you breakdowns of all your quote values by quarter. We even have a little forecasting function that it's not designed to be the thing that you build your business around. Is designed to be a check and a balance to see where your quoters and your opportunity pipeline is coming from. All sorts of analysis and an opportunity to dig in. There's some ability to dig into this. There is also I want to talk a little bit about what we shared when we announced Quote Connect, but I want to go one step further because at ATS we will be not just announcing products, right? AutoQuote is a product. AutoQuote is a piece of software that you log into, you subscribe to. Quote Connect is the same thing. We're actually launching an entire network in 2025, whereby we have a vision for the future of commercial plumbing quotations, whereby we connect all of the players in the ecosystem. With our vision is to get from quote request to fully placed project in less than 30 minutes. So we have not yet finished the sub-hub function, but that is the last piece in this. And we do plan to be working on this in 2025 so that the contractor can request a price of the wholesaler. The AI will pull that price together quickly within a matter of minutes. The quoter will identify what items need pricing from a rep or a manufacturer. That price can be sent back seamlessly directly into AutoQuote, and AutoQuote will then, on point number 4, respond to the contractor extremely quickly with full audit trail of all the activities that happened in the process. So that concludes the overarching presentation, and we wanted to open it up for some question and answer. I will stop sharing, and then if you want to raise your hand, that might be one way if you have a question, or you can just type it in chat. And if you don't have any questions, that's okay too. I'll just leave a little bit of time for anyone to formulate a question. Great question. So Krista asked, what happens with discontinued model numbers? Mazen, I'll let you answer that one.
Yeah, so I guess if a model number has been specified by an engineer and it has been discontinued, you have the option of sort of correcting that on the AI and putting in the replacement SKU. So what this means is that you make the correction once, the next time that discontinued model number is picked up, it will automatically get replaced with a newer one, whether it's from the same brand or a different brand.
And Will is asking, how do you handle revisions? Is there a project folder where project quotes are saved?
So if I guess an addendum comes in or a revision comes in, depending on the depth of that revision, you have the ability to go into the previous quote that you've created and maybe edit in one or two items. But if you're talking about a larger scale addendum or like a project-wide type of thing, then we'd almost recommend just rerun it as a new project within the same project folder, and it'll create a new quote based on that new revision.
Why don't you, what about the, so there's a function inside AutoQuote where you can do by quotes, right, Mazen? So we've got multiple different ways to do that. You want to quickly touch on that?
Yeah, so there are, I guess, different iterations of the quotes, I guess, that can get created depending on the case that you're working on. So if you're, let's say, an addendum comes in, you have the ability to create a revision within AutoQuote, as opposed to, for example, a requote where you've been awarded the job.
A buy quote is super important because it allows you to have an audit trail of what was your original quote out there to the market, and then what were your negotiated prices. Maybe some value engineering occurred, maybe some equivalent or equal products were selected and approved by the engineer. So you just have all that to be able to refer back to. And then Krista asked another good question about what happens with model discrepancies between the model number and the description. So let me answer that real quick, because at the moment, Krista, that's where the quoter comes in. We are doing some testing, and fingers crossed, we'll have this in 2025. A lot depends on how the whole world of AI unfolds, to be honest. But we do plan to bring out what we are sort of affectionately calling a quote bot, which will do that very thing. It will take a look at the description, and it will take a look at the model number that's given, and it will either suggest that it is incorrect, or if it is incorrect, it will suggest the correct one. But we're not there yet. We are going to start with baby steps on that, and we're actually going to start. This might not sound like a baby step. We're going to start with drains, because drains are hard to configure, and we have done a lot of testing. So look for something within the year 2025. I'm not going to put my finger on a date. There's still some work to be done on that, but where the AI will be trained on that deep level of understanding of how is a product configured, and is the description equate to the model number. David asks, is there a way for manufacturer's rep to update or change your master list of descriptions? That's a great question, David. Some of the abbreviations are terrible. EL versus ELON. It's we hear you. Is there a way for manufacturers? Yes. We have a bulk import and a bulk export, which we use for everything from pricing updates to changing descriptions to adding packages. I mean, is there a way to push that off to the manufacturer to do that? I'm not sure if that's your exact question, but at the moment, it requires a login to AutoQuote to do it. So, but it is there to be done. We'll also ask, will SubHub allow customers to make their own changes and submit to us for approval? To be determined, Will. We would love feedback if you have advice for how and where the value would lie in the concept of our SubHub that you saw on that screen. We would love to collect that and make sure it's designed in a way that's effective. And you also bring up, Will, a question of a lookbook function. designers like to see things with a nice some nice graphics. And yes, that is also in the works. We are going to have an ATS showroom module that will give you those exact things. We already can do that because we have, if you go to atspec.com, which is our other website, which is more designed for engineers and architects, we can already build a lookbook directly from the specification that is completely and totally designed for the designer to look at. And so we've just got a little bit of work to do to bring that across to the quotation side of our business. Question about implementing HVAC, these tools for HVAC. So we'd love to talk to you about HVAC. The takeoff functionality at the moment is somewhat of a standalone module, but the answer is absolutely. It won't take that much effort, and it is on our roadmap to be able to take the output from our HVAC module and bring it directly into the quotation so that you can build either combined quote or have quote for plumbing, one quote for HVAC, but all out of the same platform.
And just add a little bit more detail there. We realized that the HVAC quoting is slightly different than the plumbing one. So we did that AI, I guess the HVAC AI that we're working with right now primarily works on, the floor plans. It does vent takeoffs, length, sizes, all that, and then it brings it into the tool.
Yeah. And we still got a few more minutes. So what else is being asked here? Is it possible to view the drawing alongside the list of items? Oh, great question. Mazen just didn't show that to you. Yes, it already exists.
So I'm just gonna share this real quick. Can everyone see my screen? Awesome. So yeah, I mean, all these model numbers that were picked up by the AI are hyperlinked. So if you just click on any of these model numbers, it takes you directly to where that SKU was picked up from on the document. So right now I clicked on the 6550. You can see top left corner that 6550 was brought in.
There's a couple ways, different ways to do that. Some people like to have it open in a second screen, but the reason we built this right into the system is so that you can quickly get to the location on the drawings or the specs. Especially if you have like 100 or 1,000 page spec document, it'll take you right to that spec and you're good to go. Krista also asks, every wholesaler has different quoting procedures and principles. How does the AI differentiate? It's a great question. The AI is designed to find the products and put them into your quote. How you manage it from there is how you keep your competitive edge. We showed you packages, we showed you the ability to do cross-references. There are, and by the way, the more packages you build, the more products that you enter into your system, and the more you set up those columns. We didn't get into the columns that Mazen just showed you, one of the ones that quickly filled in the multiplier. The more you refine those for your quoting practices, the more effective you're going to be in your market.
Yeah, Krista, in terms of the actual products that are included in your quotes, the AI will basically pick that up as you're quoting on it. So the more, I guess, projects you run through it, the more it picks up on your specific preferences, and those become automated.
There's a whole process where we haven't talked about this, but should any of you choose to come aboard and get AutoQuote deployed in your company, we go through a setup process which takes anywhere from 30 to 60 days, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more. But one of the steps, there's multiple steps in that setup process, but one of the steps we do is what we call reverse quoting. And we help just get you started. The reverse quoting just says, hey, give us a couple of your previous quotes and projects. We'll rebuild them and start training the AI on how you quote and what your preferences are and what brands you choose and what brands you don't and what you cross to, et cetera. So that's one of the things that we do for you when you get started. Is there an integration available with CRM systems and sales order systems? So Mazen, I'll let you answer that one.
Yeah, so we integrate into basically there's a CRM and ERP, whatever it is, we start off the onboarding process with that integration. We set that up. If you're talking about an ERP system, for example, we set up the sales order, we map each of the fields so that it populates, I guess, on your backend system, however you would like it to populate on there. We have another set of integration, I guess, that we take care of the products to update any pricing changes, any product information, inventory, even if that's a factor for you while you're quoting, we can have that reflect on auto.
Yep. And Amit, I'm just going to get back to you in a second, but I want to answer Daniel's question. Is each user on the HS system have their own instance? Yes, you absolutely do. It is completely segregated. It is what's called a multi-tenant platform, and it's specific to you. There's security that no one else can see it. All your pricing data, everything is secure. We are in the process of conducting a SOC 2 analysis, which might sound like something you hang by the fireplace at Christmas time, but no, it is actually a technology-based security protocol that we will be rolling out relatively shortly, just for assurances. And the back end, great question. No, our back end is not OpenAI. We built our own machine learning models, and it took us. We thought we could do this back in 2021. We thought we could do this in, I don't know, maybe 12 months, maybe 18 months. Well, it took us 3 years. And, the concept of Moore's law, if you don't know what that is, it's just that, technology doubles and it doubles and doubles, right? So you get this exponentially increasing curve of technology advancements, and we're experiencing that ourselves. So we built our own models. They're all proprietary to us. We own the intellectual property of that, and they are one of the key success factors of AutoQuote is our data. I mentioned that in one of the slides earlier, but we have invested an inordinate amount of effort and time into making sure our data is validated, accurate. We have every single product attribute detail, and there's some exciting stuff actually coming, which we won't talk about on this call, but there's some exciting stuff coming in 2025 around spec sheets and data management, and using the concept of chat with your data. That's coming as well. So there's a lot of work to be done, but it's all good. Amit, you asked a great question. Has the AI been trained on waterworks diagrams, municipal water supplies and waste? So it is I'll be completely honest, it's really difficult for AI to distinguish a line on a drawing. What the heck is it, right? Yes, it can have a label that points to it, but there isn't just one line. There's dozens of lines. There's lines that cross each other. So the answer is not yet. We are not yet at the point where the AI can take off piping for waterworks types things, but it will count things like risers and hydrants and valves, and we're actually working on an extensive effort right now to train the HVAC takeoff model to come over to the plumbing side, and it will do. We're working on data centers. We're working on it counting things like sinks and faucets and toilets and urinals. So that is all just part of the exciting aspects of what AI can do, but it all takes training. Just like hiring a new employee, it takes training, and we're thrilled to be what we believe is the leader in this industry for having trained a lot of the data and built the infrastructure that's required to make this a really effective application for your use. So thank you, everyone. I'll give you back just a few minutes of your time. Thank you very much for your attending today, and you've got the contact information. I will share that really quickly one last time, and we'd be happy to chat with any or all. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate your time, everyone.
Bye-bye.